Time now for the morning rush. The 5 adults found living on a filthy Taos County compound with 11 malnourished children are expected to make their first appearance in federal court today. The adults were recently charged by the FBI on federal charges after investigators say heavy ammunition and weapons were found when the compound was raided. The criminal complaint charges Janie Lavelle of being in the country illegally. She's also accused of illegally having firearms and ammunition. The 4 other suspects charged with conspiracy and aiding and abetting Lavelle. What else they face coming up in the 5 Facts.
And breaking weather to tell you about this morning. Tropical Storm Gordon is now forecasted to be a hurricane when it makes landfall along the Gulf Coast. This morning, warnings are up from Alabama to Louisiana. New Orleans Mayor LaToya Cantrell has issued a state of emergency as the city braces for flooding. Right now, 200 National Guard members will be on the ground in Louisiana with boats, helicopters, and high water vehicles to help people who didn't have time to leave their homes. Gordon is expected to make landfall along the Gulf Coast later tonight. That brings us closer to home. When it comes to our rain chances, they're backing off some today. Northern mountains, far western higher terrain, and eastern New Mexico, a few spotty storms isolated elsewhere, including here in the metro. Crystal?
APD says they're still investigating 2 break-ins at a Boost Mobile. Boost Mobile manager Denise Lucero says the thief broke into the store off San Pedro and Central yesterday morning, stealing a box used for marketing. This comes just 2 weeks after surveillance cameras captured another break-in. That thief stealing several phones. Lucero says she did her own research online. She believes it's the same thief who broke in for those 2 burglaries. We'll let you know if any arrests are made in this case. On to new details for you of a silver alert. State police asking for your help this morning in searching for a missing man. Officials issued a silver alert for 59-year-old Johnson Apache after he was last seen leaving Socorro General Hospital earlier yesterday. He was last seen wearing a hospital gown and blue jeans. If you have any information, you're asked to call the number at the bottom of your screen. It's going to be a tough start for this morning for a once missing hiker recently found on a father-son hiking trip. Authorities say the man's father did not make it back home. The Rio Rancho pair went missing in the Jemez Mountains almost a week ago. La Cueva Fire launched a search and rescue mission. About 25 hours later, the 20-year-old son was found alive. The 71-year-old father died. His identity not known at this time. Former San Francisco 49ers quarterback Colin Kaepernick will be featured in Nike's Just Do It 30th anniversary campaign. Nike revealed an ad showing Kaepernick's face with the caption saying, "Believe in something even if it means sacrificing everything." Kaepernick began kneeling during the national anthem in 2016 to bring attention to police brutality and against racial injustice. Other players soon joined in, sparking a national debate. Albuquerque police asking you to keep an eye out to help them find a puppy that was stolen from a home. Vanessa Baca says she could not find her 6-month-old pit bull named Bruce in their backyard near Tramway and Copper Sunday night. She says her other dog had wounds to the face and the latch to her gate was left open. If you see Bruce anywhere, you're asked to call Crime Stoppers. Kristen.
Today's Metro Threat Index added to watching for that isolated storm chance. Not very many of us will see the rain, though, here in the valley. But with any given storm, we're going to be watching for the lightning threat as well as the gusty wind, hoping on a few light showers. Crystal?
This morning, you can help an Albuquerque student earn a scholarship worth $400,000.
Welcome, Muggles, to the wizarding world of mathematics.
Adeline Moore from La Cueva High School is competing in a breakthrough junior challenge. It calls on students to explain a scientific concept. Adeline is using Harry Potter to explore the P versus NP concept. She's now in the top 30. The challenge relies on a popular vote. A link is posted to alwaysonkrqe.com. On to new news this morning. 200 people requesting refunds 24 hours after Zozobra organizers say they would offer them. That's according to the Santa Fe New Mexican. The number of those who did not make it in, though, before Old Man Gloom went up in flames, much higher, about 2,000 people. Organizers say backpack checks and weather caused delays. Those people will get refunded the ticket price, get a poster, and tickets to next year's burning. New Mexico man likely recovering this morning after climbing Mount Kilimanjaro. John Midovich says he summited the mountain on August 25th, raising about $20,000 for a homeless charity called Family Promise Albuquerque. He accepted the pledges for every foot that he climbed. Kristen.
Time now for a check on traffic. Not seeing any major issues out there on the roads this morning. The map is clean and green. We also have our news tracker out this morning, currently on I-40. Looks pretty good, but of course, if something pops up, we will be sure to let you know.
What if the week-long grind was one day shorter? According to a new study by the Workforce Institute at Kronos Incorporated, half of employees feel they could complete their work in just 4 days. The study asked employees what is making them less productive. 86% actually said they waste time on tasks not related to their core job. That's followed by the time it takes for administrative work and for meetings. Quite interesting, isn't it?
And welcome back. A final check on that day planner shows 60s right now, 70s by noon. 83 is a forecast high with those isolated thunderstorms possible here in the metro. Better coverage north of I-40. We'll be watching for a few spotty storms too out across the higher terrain of western New Mexico. Scattered storms as we take it east. Now tomorrow there's a cold front moving in. This will bring in some moisture and this is actually going to help us out with those more widespread rain chances late Wednesday into Thursday. Temperatures will also be cooler because of all that moisture and cloud cover getting into this state. So when it comes to that cheat sheet for today, keep the umbrella on standby for those isolated storms, but the best coverage will be over northern and eastern areas. Mild temperatures too, most of us in the 70s and 80s, still a few degrees short of average for this time of year.
All right, time for the 5 facts.
We start with number 5. A New Mexico man still making headlines this morning for climbing Mount Kilimanjaro. He's likely recovering this morning after completing that grueling mission. Earlier this summer, we told you about John Midovich and his plan to join a small group climbing Mount Kilimanjaro in Africa. Well, his goal was to raise money for a homeless charity called Family Promise Albuquerque by accepting pledges for every foot he climbed. Midovich summited the mountain on August 25th. He says he raised about $20,000.
Wow, good for him. Number 4 now, Albuquerque police asking for your help to help them find a missing puppy who they believe was stolen from a home. Vanessa Baca says she could not find her 6-month-old pit bull named Bruce in their backyard near Tramway and Copper Sunday night. She says her other dog had wounds to the face and the latch to her gate was left open. Baca says her son is having a really tough time with this. If you've seen Bruce or if you know where he's at, you're asked to call Crime Stoppers.
At number 3, isolated storm chance here in the metro. We'll bump that up to spotty to scattered late tomorrow into Thursday. Breezy to windy conditions too as that cold front moves in. High temperatures sliding into those lower 80s and upper 70s late week. That brings us to number 2. We're following breaking weather this morning. Tropical storm Gordon now forecasted to be a hurricane when it makes landfall along the Gulf Coast. This morning, warnings are out from Alabama to Louisiana. New Orleans mayor issuing a state of emergency as the city braces for flooding. Right now, 200 National Guardsmen will be on the ground in Louisiana with boats, helicopters, and high water vehicles to help people who didn't have time to leave their homes. Gordon has already brought 50-mile-per-hour winds to Florida as well as several inches of rain.
Number 1 now, big talker. The 5 adults found living on a filthy Taos County compound with 11 malnourished children are expected to make their first appearance in federal court today. The adults recently charged by the FBI on federal charges. This after investigators say heavy ammunition and weapons were found on the compound. The criminal complaint charges Janie Lavelle of being in the country illegally and accused of illegally having firearms and ammunition. The 4 other suspects are charged with conspiracy and aiding and abetting Lavelle. All 5 are not in the clear when it comes to the child abuse charges that were dropped just last week. That part of the case will now be heard by a grand jury where all charges against each of the suspects could be refiled. Of course, we'll stay on top of that for you.